As As we wrap up the trading week, we take a look at the biggest market movers, key economic developments, corporate headlines, and what they mean for businesses, investors, and everyday Nigerians. This is Business Focus coming your way live from Politics and Business TV in Abuja. I am Fari Josephine. Thank you for joining us. Shettima urges investment in agriculture, marine economy. Nigeria has no business being poor, and those were the emphatic words of Vice President Kashim Shettima as he called for increased investment in agriculture and the marine economy, describing both sectors as key pillars for unlocking Nigeria's vast economic potentials and securing long-term prosperity for its citizens. The Vice President made the remark at the Niger Delta both governments and private sector stakeholders to rethink Nigeria's economic priorities, according to him. An extensive disadvantages, millions of Nigerians continue to face economic hardship while the country is spending a portion of government revenues and foreign exchange earnings. However, fluctuations in global oil prices has repeatedly exposed the vulnerabilities of an oil-dependent economy. This has reinforced calls for economic diversification and greater investment in productive sectors capable of creating jobs and generating sustainable wealth. Vice President Shettima believes agriculture and the marine economy present some of the country's greatest opportunities. Agriculture remains one of Nigeria's largest employers of labor, contributing significantly to the nation's gross domestic product. Beyond crop production, the sector offers enormous potential in processing, packaging, storage, export, and agro-industrial development. The Vice President lamented that Nigeria has failed to maximize the full value of its agricultural resources. Rather than exporting finished products, the country often exports raw commodities or import processed goods at much higher cost. He argued that Nigeria must deliberately build competitive value chains that encourage local production and industrialization. Drawing comparison with Indonesia, Shettima noted that the Southeast Asian nation has successfully transformed its palm oil industry into one of the world's largest export earners. Ironically, Nigeria was once among the world's leading producers of palm oil before years of neglect and underinvestment resulted in declining productivity. The comparison, he said, demonstrates what is possible when countries commit to strategic investment, innovations, and supportive policies. Beyond agriculture, the Vice President highlighted the immense opportunities within Nigeria's marine or blue economy. The sector encompasses fisheries, aquaculture, maritime transportation, coastal tourism, marine biotechnology, port operations, and other ocean-based economic activities. Given Nigeria's strategic coastal location and inland waterways, experts have long argued that the marine economy remains one of the country's most underdeveloped yet promising sectors. Investment in fisheries and aquaculture alone could significantly improve food security while creating thousands of jobs across the value chain. Similarly, strengthening maritime infrastructure could boost trade and position Nigeria and also reflect a broader strategy to reposition the Niger Delta beyond its traditional identity as Nigeria's oil-producing region. Successive administrations have acknowledged the need to diversify economic opportunities in the region by promoting agriculture, manufacturing, and marine-based industries capable of delivering inclusive growth. However, Analysts have noted that achieving these ambitious goals will require more than financial commitment. Addressing insecurity in farming communities, improving transportation networks, expanding access to affordable financing, strengthening agricultural extension services, and ensuring policy consistency will be critical to success. Investment in technology, mechanized farming, irrigation system, and value-added processing will also determine whether Nigeria can compete effectively in global markets. Equally important is the need for stronger partnership between government, the private sector, development institutions, and local communities. Sustainable economic transformations cannot be driven by government alone. It requires an enabling environment that encourages innovation, productivity, and long-term investment across strategic sectors. The Vice President's declaration that Nigeria has no business being poor is therefore more than a political statement. It is both a reflection of the country's untapped potential and a challenge to policymakers and investors alike. It raises fundamental questions about how Nigeria chooses to deploy its abundant resources and whether economic. Welcome back from that short break and thank you for staying with us. It is still Business Focus on Politics and Business TV. And to the Nigerian equity market, where the market opens today on a cautious note as investors continue to monitor market development following mild profit taken in the previous session. The NGX All Share Index opened at 242,145.61 points after declining by 0.09%, representing a loss of 221.14 points in the previous trading session. Market capitalizations opened at approximately 155.98 trillion naira, reflecting the market's valuation at the start of today's trading session. Market sentiment remained cautiously bearish as investors balanced profit-taking activities with renewed interest in selected equities across key sectors of the market. And to the top gainers, leading the gainers chart today is the FTN Cocoa Processors PLC, which advanced by plus 10%. Nigerian Aviation Handling Companies PLC or NACO also recorded the maximum daily gains of plus 10%, while ABC Transport PLC appreciated by plus 9.98%. Also among the top performers is FD Group PLC, which gained a plus 9.97%, and Fitson Healthcare PLC, which rose by plus 9.96%, reflecting sustained buying interest across consumer goods, transportation, financial services, and healthcare stocks on the Nigerian equity markets. And on to the top losers. Leading the losers chart today is Unicell Interlinked PLC, leading the decline, shading a minus 10%. Boa Cement PLC followed closely with a loss of minus 9.99%, while Chemical and Allied Products minus 9.94%, and Consolidated Hallmark Holdings PLC rounded out the list with a loss of minus 9.90%, as profit taken in selected equities weighed on trading activities at the open of Nigerian exchange today. And now to the Nigerian commodities. A 50-kilogram bag of locally produced rice is selling for between 57 to 63,000, while imported rice is retailing for 70 to 86,000 naira. A 50-kilogram bag of beans is currently selling for 70 to 95,000 naira. And a 25-liter container of vegetable oil is priced between 80 and 96,000 naira, while the same quantity of palm oil is selling for 60 to 72,000 naira. And in the downstream energy market, petrol is retailing for 1,210 naira to 1,350 naira to a liter. Diesel is selling for 1,500 to 1,650 naira to a liter, while kerosene is priced between 1,050 naira and 1,150 naira to a liter. Meanwhile, cooking gas is retailing for 1,600 to 1,800 naira to a kilogram depending on location and supplier. Thus, prices are indicative and may vary across states and markets due to transportation costs, supply conditions, and local demand. Lastly, to the currency market, the Nigerian official foreign exchange market, the Naira exchange at approximately 1,381.68 kobo to $1. Meanwhile, in the parallel market, also known as the black market, the Naira traded at approximately 1,410 Naira to the dollar for buying and 1,420 Naira for selling. Exchange rates in the parallel market may vary slightly depending on location, dealer, and transaction size. And that is it from the equity market. Right now, we go on a short break. And when we return, we go into the conversation of the day with my guest joining us via Zoom. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back from that short break and thank you for staying with us. It is still the program Business Focus coming your way from Politics and Business TV. And to take us into the conversation today, I have my guest, Oluwole Joshua, who is a chartered accountant and a tax expert. Good morning, Mr. Oluwole, and thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Good morning, and nice having me today.
Thank you. Yes, to go straight into the conversation, the vice president said Nigeria has no business being poor, and that those are his words. What do you make of the statement coming from he who is the vice president?
Honestly, it's a statement of fact, and statement of fact to the extent of the fact that any country that cannot sustain itself, that cannot sustain what its population is, doesn't have any business in the country. That's number one. Number two is that Nigeria has gone down to the extent that if we are poor, that means something is either wrong with our leadership or wrong with our attitude as a nation. So when we are considering Nigeria to other countries, some other countries doesn't have the resources that Nigeria has, be it oil or mineral resources, or even the intellectual capacity. But Nigeria is trading behind many of these countries. So if we have countries not having a fraction of what we have, and they are thriving, if we have Malaysia coming to Nigeria to come and take palm oil and is thriving in its agricultural business, that means we have to rethink about our leadership and our thought process. Why I kept on saying leadership and thought process is that what is beneath our feet is enough for Nigeria to depend on. It's what is between our ears that is debarring us from achieving our place in the Committee of Nations. So it's a statement of fact. And anybody that knows a good information about Nigeria knows that statement is true. What we need to rejig is our thought process. What we need to rejig is our ability to work, ability to assess the technological terrain. And that is quickly changing with global interaction, with global industrialization. That is quickly changing. So what we need to do is to ensure that we play around our business model in order to place Nigeria first. Nothing should go outside the shores of Nigeria if it is not well processed. And nothing should come into Nigeria if it is not needed. So those are the things that we need to look at. We need to look at what consumes our fund, what consumes our foreign exchange, what consumes it, and how can we work around these necessities. It is necessary that Nigeria must buy from other countries, but what are we giving out to other countries? So that is number one. Number two is that are we growing what we eat? If we are not growing what we eat, that means we will find it challenging for us to be rich. Because if a sizable fraction of what we eat or what we consume is coming from outside world, we will be a slave to the outside world. That means we have to earn for them to when we look at the fact that foreigners are coming to take up our work, that means we should look at how we can produce to make sure or to ensure that the intellectual capacity of our citizens can produce and ship the product to them rather than them coming to where the raw materials are to come and produce, then ship it outside Nigeria. So it's a statement of fact, and Nigeria has no reason to be poor because we have large sizable portion of our land being arable. We have a sizable portion of our sea being fishable. We have sizable portion of what is below the ground being valuable. We have mineral resources. We can till the soil, and we can even go to the sea. Aside from this, we have the intellectual capacity for Nigeria to try. So if we have this intellectual capacity, we have what is below our feet, we have what is on the ground, and we have what is behind our backyard to farm from. We have no reason to be poor. What we are doing, or what kept us here, is the fact that we not manage the resources kept within our shores, because we believe that if it's not foreign, it is not good enough for us to use.
All right. Are you still with me, Mr. Oluwale Joshua? I think we're experiencing a little bit of a network delay there. But if you are just joining us, it is the program Business Focus, and this is Politics and Business TV. And of course, we're having a conversation around the statement made by our Vice President in the person of Kashim Shettima. He said Nigeria has no reason for being poor. We have enough resources and we have no reasons. Coming from someone who is in power, not just anybody, the Vice President of the nation, it is indeed a big statement to make. A lot of questions are arising from that very statement he made. If you are in power and then you are saying this, who are responsible for those actions that will make Nigerians not to be poor again as a nation? We are nations blessed with mineral resources, good land, very productive youth. We have hardworking youth. And we are still the way we are. It's a good thing that he said that. That means to say our leaders have eyes, they see, they know what the situation of the country is. And of course, that's the conversation we are having today. And I have my guest. I don't know, the network is not being on our site today. All right, we go on a short break. Please just stay with us while we try to fix it. We'll be right back.
Imagine having the power of television, movies, news, and entertainment right in your pocket. Welcome to Free TV App, Nigeria's all-in-one digital TV experience. With Free TV App, you get access to over 100 live TV channels, breaking news, sports, movies, kids shows, and more, all from a single mobile app. No decoder stress, no complicated setup, just download, open, and start watching. Free TV is television reimagined for the digital age. To get started, simply search Free TV on the Google Play Store or Free TV NG on the Apple App Store, or scan the QR code on your screen. Once installed, register in seconds using your phone number email, WhatsApp, Google ID, or Apple ID. Secure OTP verification ensures safe and seamless access. Inside the app, explore content directly from the home screen or navigate easily using the various tabs. The Live TV section gives you access to over 100 licensed channels, complete with an electronic program guide, EPG, pause, rewind, and catch-up features. The Video On-Demand library offers up to 5...
Tired of the snow? Tired of 888-7277? Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC. Tired of the snow?
All right, thank you for staying with us. We sincerely apologize for that break in transmission. Of course, it is the network, and we have close to no control over that. But right now, I have my guest back on the program with me. Thank you for joining us again, Mr. Oluwole. I don't know if you can hear me now, Mr. Oluwole. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, thank you for...
Nigeria has no business to be poor because all indices point to the fact that we have everything at our disposal to make wealth or to convert to wealth, be it human resources, be it mineral resources, be it aquatic resources. So we have everything to be wealthy, and it is evidenced by looking at Nigerians in diaspora. You see how they thrive wherever they are to the point of envy. You see how they make businesses and how they make their good contributions to the economy of other nations. You see this current World Cup, even when we are not there, you see what Nigerians are doing up to getting to the stage of semi-final. So we have a lot to offer the world, and we have a lot to sustain whatsoever we want to achieve. What we need to do is to change our attitude and to ensure that our leadership is capable to give us a strategic direction to lead us through to wealth. If not, we cannot achieve wealth as in silos, as individuals within the country, and expect our country to be called wealthy. That is why we have the skilled wealth distribution. The wealth distribution is skewed towards a little fraction of the population. So we can't call the little fraction as being wealthy. What we can call Nigeria is being poor. While we have the richest man in Africa, who is equally competing favorably within the richest. We can't be rich in silo if we cannot carry all of our population along in our journey to wealth. What we have is to prioritize individual contribution to this wealth. What do we do in empowering the micro individual of what are we doing to ensure that any citizen is not living below the poverty line? What are we doing to ensure that all citizens are being empowered? What are we doing to ensure that the macro businesses are empowered to become a big business? What are we doing to ensure that infrastructure is being extended to all population and all areas of our countries? What are we doing to ensure that it is patriotic for citizens to pay tax? Just of recent, we are looking at the disincentives to payment of taxes. We are looking at the cost of bureaucracy. We are looking at the cost of compliance to Nigerian legislation. The cost of compliance is very high. What are we doing to reduce it, to ensure that people are kept in businesses? What are we doing to ensure that the land are being put in practical use, to ensure that they are being used judiciously? What I mean is that if you look at the urban and regional planning of Nigeria, it doesn't favor the fact that people should conglomerate at a point, so that the other portion of the land are being judiciously used. We open up portion of the land and ensure and will not take care of what we call the infrastructure agricultural part of it, will not take care of what happens within the land that are being opened up. So
All right, now, Mr. Oluwole, please permit me to come in here. Yes, permit me to come in here for a bit. The vice president's statement, make it, you're mentioning the fact that, of course, we don't have any geographical locations about what we as Nigerians, what we have to offer to the world. But right now, the president's statement is the reality of Nigeria as it is. What does it say about the economy of the nation and the management of the resources that we have over the years?
The economy of the nation is robust on paper. Because when you get to the streets, you don't see the
reflect
of this growth in GDP. I'm with you.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
When you get to the streets, you don't see the effect of this growth in GDP.
Yes.
Growth in foreign direct investment, growth in foreign earnings. You don't see the effect of the growth in all economic indices. All the economic indices that point to the fact that Nigeria is not doing well, skewed towards the poor, skewed towards the microeconomics. So on the macro flank, Nigeria is doing well because we have the growth in GDP, we have the growth in foreign direct reserve, we have the growth in credit ratings, we have the growth in many other things. But when we go to the microeconomics of Nigeria, you see that the economics is not pointing to the fact that Nigeria is growing. And this has to do with the quality of human life. This has to do with what we have as our infrastructure. This has something to do with what the rich are, because we have produced the richest person in Africa. This has nothing to do with what the GDP is, because we are living between first five good GDP in Africa. This doesn't have to do with our quality of education, because we have plentorous universities and polytechnics in Nigeria. But there is a disconnect between the wealth of the nation. There is a disconnect between the policy of the government and the people on ground. There is a disconnect between the common men and the policy of the government. So to bring this disconnect, it will take long years, and it will take a good policy, a good drive in the policy to ensure that people embrace what these policies are. People embrace what the universal basic education is. People embrace what the policies surrounding SMEs are. People are being given capital to raise their SMEs to what we call the large businesses. People are being given the encouragement and the environment to ensure that they grow, and people's attitude will equally change to ensure that they are productive in whatsoever they do, and it will change to the extent of being productive in ensuring that what they produce is value driven. What I mean by value driven is that there are value added to whatever we produce, whether it is cocoa, whether it is gold, whether it is lithium, whether it is oil and gas. We should be able to add values to what we produce before we send it to the world. If not, we will be exporting the possible wealth of Nigeria, and that will be the disconnect between the rich and the poor. If you can encourage citizens' participation in construction activities in Nigeria, if you can encourage citizens' participation in agricultural value chain, if you can encourage citizens' participation in oil and gas businesses, we will see that the wealth of the nation is going further down to reach the masses. The rich will find capital to produce. They will produce, export, and earn. While they earn, they will save this and become a good capitalist. While the poor will be expecting that the rich should share with them, or the government should redistribute the income. So why not go in productivity rather than redistributing income? If you continue to redistribute income, we'll be creating more lazy people rather than creating more productive people. for us to create more productive people, we should make sure that everything we produce, everything we export, everything that happens within the macro has a way of touching the microeconomics, has a way of touching the average Nigerians, has a way of getting people participating in what Nigeria produces. If you are exporting cocoa, how many people, how many farmers process cocoa within the farm space? If not, we'll be looking at a rich cocoa farmer being surrounded by poor relatives and friends. If we extract gold, we just export the gold. We see a rich extractive entrepreneur who is very rich while being surrounded by poor dependents. So if these poor dependents are not kept included in the productive process, we see what we have. There is a disconnect between the government policy, between the wealth of nation and the masses. So what we should be looking at is bridging this disconnect. And the only way we can bridge this disconnect is to engage these masses in the productive activities of the nation and bridge the fact that there is a disconnect between the production value chain. If we keep exporting our products, those countries we export our raw materials to, we gain from the value chain, engage their own citizens in productive activities, and they will keep their citizens engaged. And then we have a high human capital index with them.
All right,
But
let's
if that the value chain we are engaging, we see that the wealth will be spread across.
all right. Let's talk about the economic diversification of Nigeria. Nigeria has been a conversation that has been ongoing for quite numbers of years right now, for decades. Economic diversification. You believe with me that right now, for the longest, Nigeria has depended solely on the oil, the GDP from petroleum. What has prevented agriculture and the marine economy from becoming major contributors to the GDP and export earnings? Are there any challenges as to why we haven't seen these two sector contributing to the nation's GDP?
I will tell you that it is capital, but not capital, because availability of capital should translate to industrialization.
Okay.
If there is no industrialization in the national productive sector, traditionally agriculture, we will find out that we will not be able to sustain whatsoever we want to achieve. If we have mechanized agriculture, we'll be able to meet up with our production value chain. As of today, we have only 5 agricultural businesses listed on Nigeria Stock Exchange. We have only 5. If we have only 5 agricultural businesses, how do we assess the capital? How do we produce on a large scale level? Apart from that, we have the insecurity, which affects the peasant farmers. We have some peasant farmers who live on cooperative empowerment to produce agriculture, farming fruits, fertilizers, and the likes. So they are able to produce in large scale. They are not industrialized, but they are able to produce in large scale. This category of farmers are being attacked by insecurity. So we have a lot to do within that plan. And if you study the terrorism economics, or you study the banditry economics, the bandits are not, or the terrorists are not into what we call the formal businesses. They are into informal businesses. So they depend on these farmers. They want the farmers to go to farm. Then they want them to either pay taxes, or they be a co-harvester to them. They harvest their products and they sell. So either in that way, or they tell them not to farm at all. So insecurity is affecting the peasant and cooperative farmers, while the mechanized agricultural farms are not being encouraged to expand. So why not get agricultural hub? Why not get production hub? When you talk about the marine economics, if you talk about the marine, we have the fishing mechanism to fish in large scale. Some of the foreign countries are doing that. They come and fish at the backyard of Nigeria. Whether we have the radar to cover them, the naval radar to cover them, and the ship to deter them from fishing within the Nigerian marine space. I don't want to go there. But we have foreigners fishing within the national marine space. If that is settled, we can get Nigerians who fish into the deep waters, get this fishing material, get this fishing products, sell it abroad, and earn good monies from it. Before selling it abroad, add values to it. Not that you get it, sell it abroad. Then we have the post-harvest losses. When we harvest these products, whether fish or agricultural products, how do we protect them before exporting? How do we enhance the quality? How do we ensure that we don't use the chemicals that are forbidden in other countries? How do we ensure that either we don't use them or we use them in lower quantity before we export them? Those are the issues. So we have a disconnect between government policy and the grassroots. So how do we bridge this gap? If we want to bridge this gap, government must roll up its sleeves and go and meet these grassroots farmers at their base. We need to have the agricultural zone. If we have the agricultural zone, we can protect the agricultural zones in nodules. We know that this is the agricultural geomapped territory. We know that security within that geomapped territory should be kept top notch. We know that whatever goes in will be monitored, and whatever comes out will be monitored. If we have the agricultural node, then we have the urban and regional planning.
All right. Mr. Oluwole, permit me.
Have a good urban and regional planning that
we are almost out of time, Mr. Oluwole. I would have really loved us to elaborate on this issue, but we are really out of time. But before I let you go, please, how significant, in just a minute or so, how significant is the marine and the agricultural sector to Nigerians' economy right now? Please, in just a minute.
Marine agricultural sector to Nigeria is very, very significant because that is almost the size of Nigeria itself. So whatever goes into that flank should be well monitored, and it is very important because it's a new flank in Nigeria economy that we should take care of. The government should provide the fishing nets, should provide the fishing boats for people to explore the marines and to ensure that the aquatic animals are well protected from being overfished. So we have many things that we can do within the marine sector. We have the marine boat riding. We can use our marine space to attract foreigners to come and relax.
Tourism, yes, for tourism.
And to ensure that we earn more from that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwole Joshua. Thank you. And sorry for rushing you. Time is not being a friend right now.
I understand.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Do have yourself a lovely day ahead.
Yeah.